This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace. Hey everyone, I'm Ace of Clay and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture. Today we're in the hidden world or Mutant Universe and I'm revealing the next mutant character. Today you get to meet the Electrician. Now a couple of days ago in the community tab I threw up a poll asking if you wanted to see the next guide or the next mutant, and you had it at like 50-50 for the longest time, but eventually mutant surpassed guide, so that's why I'm bringing you the Electrician today. And this guy is really cool. I'm actually really excited to show you how he turns out. He looks way different than any of my other mutants, and I just think he's awesome, and I hope you like him too. And then throughout this entire video, I will be telling you this guy's backstory, so make sure you watch the whole thing so you don't miss any details. And before we get started, the photographer plush is here and he is available right now at aceofclay.com. He's really neat because he's got this zipper mouth that opens and closes and it reveals the camera lens at the back of his throat and all of his teeth. It's a really high quality zipper, and just like all of my mutants, the whole thing is high quality. He's super soft microfiber. All of the details are beautifully embroidered, and he comes with a hang tag, of course, with his entire backstory on it. So if you want to grab one, he is available right now at aceofclay.com along with Winston. And now without further ado, let's meet the Electrician. Alright, let's get started. I've got my wooden plaque here with the holes drilled for the wire, and now I'm just shaping out the Electrician's legs and shoulders, and then I'm going to attach his arms with another piece of wire. In the quiet town of Elderville, an elderly electrician was about to discover that the mundane could give way to the extraordinary. One night, the entity descended upon the town, drawn to the pulsating currents of electricity that powered its very existence. After bulking everything out with some ultralight, we're going to bake it, and then once it's baked, it's time to cover him with clay. The clay that I'm using for this project is Super Sculpey Original. Just want to get a nice even sheet over all of that ultralight, and then we can start working on his legs. Brushing on some Bacon Bond to the wire before I attach the clay makes it stick much better, and in my opinion, it works just as good as wire wrapping. Now this guy's body is pretty straightforward as far as the clothing goes and his legs and torso area, but we add some very special details later on that really make him something interesting. Once I've got his body pretty much figured out, we're going to make it look like he's wearing clothes now by adding some snakes of clay and blending those in. This will create folds and wrinkles. I want to add these snakes all over the place just so his electrician's jumpsuit is nice and wrinkly. The man who happened to be working late to fix a malfunctioning transformer became an unwitting vessel for the entity's dark desires. In an instant, the peaceful electrician found himself transformed into a grotesque amalgamation of a man and electricity. The Electrician. His once frail form now crackled with malevolent energy as exposed electrical wires replaced his arms and neck, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly white light. A low, haunting groan escaped his throat, signaling the unspeakable fusion that had taken place. Every once in a while I drill the holes a little too big in the base, but I kind of like when I do this because it allows me to take the sculpture off the base to work on it, and it makes making his shoes and other parts a little bit easier. Sometimes though I drill holes that, like, once you stick that wire in, it's never coming out. Now we're going to finish off his shoes with some tiny little shoelaces. Alright, now this guy's arms are going to be completely made out of electrical wires, or I'm gonna make it look like they're electrical wires. So just wanna add some clay up here to the top so that I can poke my wire in and it'll stay put. I'm also gonna give him short sleeves just to show off these arms. Just gonna poke in a bunch of different gauge wires. Got some wrapped up wire here that's gonna dangle down. And as I was doing this, I was kind of thinking like, I don't want to add too much wire, but in the end, I think the more the better, and I'm happy with the amount of wires that I add. Now, before I can finish the rest of his upper chest area, I need to throw on his neck. Now, one detail that I really like about this guy is that his head is going to be sort of floating above his body, but it's just connected by a bunch of these wires. So I'm just going to stick those in now. The electrician discovered his newfound abilities to traverse through electrical fields. Every light fixture, outlet, and light switch became a gateway for his twisted presence. No longer bound by the limitations of the physical world, he could emerge from any source of electricity, surprising his unexpected victims. Alright, now I'm going to pop on a collar really quick and use some Cos clay for this because it stays flexible after it's baked and I don't want this to crack. So we're just going to stick that on, blend in that bottom edge with the rest of his upper jacket, shirt, jumper area, and then fold over the collar, like a real collar. Now let's pop on his sleeves. All right, now I'm really gonna start going hard with these wires. I'm gonna have wires going from each arm and then like ones that connect to his neck and then go into an arm, and there's just gonna be a big mess of wires. And then to give his jacket a little something extra, we're gonna pop on some pockets. Should have done this before adding all the wires, but whatever. You'll live and you'll learn. And he's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and bake him again. And once he's baked and cooled down, it's time to make all these wires look like arms. And I'm just gonna loosely tangle them around that main piece of wire there and just give the impression of like hands and forearms and all that. Just get it nice and tangly. As the electrician moved through the town, a palpable sense of fear gripped Elderville. His wires, like deadly tendrils, extended with each attack, mimicking the ruthless precision of a constrictor. The crackling wires would ensnare his victims, tightening around them like a deadly python, draining the life out of them with merciless efficiency. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and work on his head. I got a ball of aluminum foil that I'm covering in Super Sculpey Living Doll. And I'm just going to make a ball first and then start punching out his features, starting with his eye sockets and then move on to his mouth area. And then I want him to have this really wrinkling, like, I don't know, not double chin, but just kind of like excess skin that's like around his neck, kind of hanging down from where the wires are going to attach. I thought this was a nice little creepy touch. So we're just going to add that now, just a bunch of snakes of clay built up on each other to create this effect. And I am happy to say that this is officially the ugly stage of this guy's face. definitely didn't know if this was going to turn out right, but it does. I trusted the process. So if you're in a situation like this where your sculpt just looks like it's going nowhere, just keep going. Just see what happens. All right, we're gonna take a quick break from today's video to talk about our sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're a big business, a small business, a freelance designer, or sculptor like me, Squarespace has everything you need to showcase your brand, sell your products, and more. I've been using Squarespace for over 5 years now, and this was even before they started sponsoring me, and I could not be happier with my experience. Their products are so streamlined and so easy to use that managing my website, aceofclay.com, is truly a breeze. Some of my favorite features include the portfolios and galleries. In my line of work, I have to show my work to the world, and Squarespace's beautiful portfolios allow me to do just that. I have an online shop where I can sell stickers, plushes, posters, sculpting supplies, and more. And Squarespace makes everything so easy. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I can track my inventory, print shipping labels, I get notifications when something sells. Everything I need is right there in the platform. You can even sell digital downloads. They really have everything you need to start selling online. And at this day and age, if you're an online business, you've got to have a social media presence, and Squarespace allows you to integrate all of your social media platforms into any page of your website. So if all of this sounds good, head on over to squarespace.com, start a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to save 10% on your purchase of a website or domain using my code aceofclay. Thanks again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Now back to our sculpture. All right, let's keep going on his 50 chins. The once peaceful town now lived in a perpetual fear of the dark, for the electrician lurked within the very fabric of their daily lives. The battle between light and darkness unfolded in unexpected ways. All right, now for his mouth, I want it to be very tiny and very toothy, and like his bottom teeth are more prominent than the top teeth. So I'm just going to punch that out with my spoon tool. I'm saying punch a lot in this video, I apologize. But let's just carve out those teeth and then make him look like he's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Now I'm going to give him his first chin. Just going to blend that in really quick, and then we're going to give him some pretty big bags under his eyes. Now, I really didn't know how I wanted his nose to look. I start with this sort of penguin-y, pointy, you know, typical evil villain nose type situation, and I don't like how this turns out, so I just kind of mess with it for a little bit until I get it to a point that I like. So we're just gonna start here and end up somewhere else. Elderville struggled to comprehend the malevolent force that now haunted its streets. The entity had transformed this man into a conduit of chaos, forever altering the course of his existence. The town's fate hung in the balance as the electrician continued to strike from the most unexpected sources, leaving a trail of electrifying terror in his wake. Now we're going to drop in his eyes after adding a little bit of Bacon Bond so they don't fall out. And then here, I'm going to take a little behind the scenes photo for my Instagram subscribers. Yes, you can subscribe to me on Instagram for only $2.99 a month to get behind the scenes footage and like previews of what I'm sculpting every week and whatever else I feel like posting. So if you're interested in that, $2.99 a month, Instagram, my handle is @aceofclay. And now I just want to give him a ton of very distinct forehead wrinkles. I'm just using this little poker tool thing. This one, if you're wondering, spoiler alert, will be included in my sculpting tool set that will be coming out later this year, hoping springtime. So you're getting this guy. He's really cool and he's really good. And I find myself using it a lot, like when I add the pores to the tip of his nose here. And as you can see there, I shaped his nose into a more bulbous point instead of a, triangular one. And now I'm just gonna press in some wrinkles. And that tool is actually like super, super pointy, so it is perfect for wrinkles like this. And then of course we need some temple veins. And I'm just gonna stick those tiny snakes of clay on like that and then blend them in by dabbing some Bacon Bond on this crappy filbert brush. Like that. And they're nice and blended. In the days following the Electrician's transformation, Elderville descended into a state of perpetual unease. The once thriving community now lived under the ominous shadow of this miserable creature. Dark whispers permeated the town, with tales of the Electrician's nocturnal prowling and the ominous groans that echoed through the deserted streets after each chilling attack. And of course we can't forget his ears. Just gonna start detailing them here with my little ball stylus, add some more wrinkles in front of them, and then repeat this process on the other side. If you hate making ears like I did, I have a tutorial that's really, really, really old from like 5 or 6 years ago where I show you how to make an ear super fast, and yeah, you should check that out if you hate making ears. And then of course another picture for the subscribers, and then I'm going to fill the head with some Bacon Bond. Lots of Bacon Bond, as much that can fit. And then I'm going to stick it on, not all the way down of course, because those wires need to be connecting his head. And I just kind of picture his head just like floating around with the wires trailing between his shoulders and his neck. I think it's a really unsettling look. What do you think? And at this point I was very happy with how he looked, but he was missing something, and I think the answer to that was a newsboy hat. So I'm just gonna make that out of some more clay, add a little brim to it, and of course texture it so it looks like fabric, and then we're gonna stick it on with some Bacon Bond. But we're gonna add a little tiny skull to the middle of it, because I like adding these little skulls to the mutants. So there we go. Now to add some more texture and grime, I'm just dabbing on some Bacon Bond here and there and getting him ready for his final bake. And once he's baked and cooled down, it's time for paint. All the paints that I'm using are Folk Art Matte Acrylics and Americana Deco Art Matte Acrylics. I'm using these instead of the Army Painter ones because I want them to have a very chalky, dusty, matte finish. As the townspeople grappled with the surreal reality of their once beloved electrician turned harbinger of terror, Elderville became a ghost town after sundown. Residents barricaded themselves indoors, fearing the flicker of a light bulb or the hum of an electrical device, not knowing if it signaled the electrician's imminent emergence. And to paint his head, I just put a nice base coat on of the main color, and then I went in with a darker wash that I dabbed off, and now I'm going in with some dry brushing of a lighter grayish dead color. This is going to bring out all those nice details and textures. Now with a fine paintbrush, I'm revisiting my dark wash, and I'm going into all the really prominent wrinkles in his face and just darkening them a little bit more. Now for his little jumpsuit thing, I went with this nice, beautiful shade of greenish brown. I was gonna do navy blue, but like the mailman was navy blue last week, and I feel like that's kind of redundant. I don't know if electricians actually wear this color, but I thought it was a nice fit. I thought it really complemented his skin tone. After a couple coats of that nice brown color, I'm going in with a darker wash to dirty him up and add some shadows and dimension. And now to really bring him to life, I'm gonna add some of that grime to his face. Now let's finish up his eyes. And for his hat, we're going with a brown that's a couple shades browner than the rest of his outfit. And we're going to finish it off with some dry brushing. The town's leaders convened emergency meetings, desperately seeking a solution to rid themselves of this supernatural menace. The fear that gripped Elderville hindered any cohesive action. And that is the Electrician. Alright, now I'm going to go in and paint all of the wires black, and then I'm going to go over them with different colors. We're going to paint some white, some red, some yellow, some blue, some copper. It's going to look really cool. Seeing all the different colored wires like this really like finished him off for me, because they actually look like they could be like electrical wires. Pretty cool. Now we're gonna paint up his base, and say it with me. And he's done! The Electrician is complete. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. I love how this guy turned out. I really do. I love all the wires. When I was making him, I was kind of thinking to myself, did I put too many wires on? But I think the more the merrier. Like, this guy looks so cool. Focus on him, not me. I'm glad that I went with the green for the jumpsuit thing instead of blue. I like his little newsboy hat with the skull motif. And I really like that his head isn't connected to his body. And it's just all these like exposed wires everywhere that are like different colors. So I don't know. I really like him, and I hope you do too, and I hope you enjoyed his backstory. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok at Ace of Clay, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.